What's up, everybody? How are you? It's your boy Bill Forster on the check-in. Happy Wednesday. This is what we do. I got my boys with me, my co-host always in the building. Got Ty Butler. I got Kevin Branzetti. This is Real Talk Chronicles. This is the only show that keeps it 100 every day, all day. This is what we talk about, all the issues that you want to discuss, anything that you have on your mind you want to talk about. Um, you can always welcome to chime in and join us. We got some stuff coming up. I got some stuff I'm inventing Real Talk, where we will be able to have things where you can call in and talk to us if you don't want to be a part of us. But I mean, in that aspect, you definitely can just. We're gonna set it up so you can call in. Sponsors: Soft Illusions Art Gallery, uh, Malika's Deli, not Malika's, Malika's Design Interaction. Excuse me, I'm multitasking, and as good as I am in a lot of things, I'm not great at that. Reggie Wells Quality Speakers, Melba Wilson, got to shout out to Melba Wilson, Leon Ellis, Chocolat, uh, Reggie Wells Quality Speakers, Daily Arts of Survival Magazine, number one martial arts magazine in the country, and last but not least, Ingram Taxes. Always got to give my boys Ingram Taxes some love. Without further ado, let me bring my brother in, Ty. Ty, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing swell, man. How's everything with you, Bill?
Everything is blessed, man. I can't complain at all. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to it. If you're watching us on Facebook, go to YouTube and just let them know and that you're watching us on you're watching us on Facebook, but you can go to YouTube and let them know that subscribe to us. Keep the content proper and lively. This is what we need to do. We need to let people know what we're talking about. We talk about the issues and the topics that are important to you and the country and the world in hand. Ty, let's get right into it. Um, we're going to talk about DeSantis, but let's talk about they've raised over $4 million for Mr. Penny in regards to this situation. What's your thoughts on that? Hey, Vera, with the wonderful last name. My personal. Let me start it off with this. It's become a black and white issue. We discussed that earlier. I want you to give your take on it and things of that magnitude. Mr. Penny has come out and spoke to the Post. He's spoken to another person, and he's like, it wasn't about color, this and that. What's up, Mark? I see you in the building. But the thing is, people now claiming that he's a hero. And, he's a hero because he served this country. I get that. But let's delve into that, and then we'll bring Kevin in. Kev, what's going on, brother? How you feeling, man? But, yeah. How you feeling, brother?
Good. Yourselves?
Loving God. What's going on?
Both.
It's good to see you. But Todd, let's give your take on the fact that they've raised $4 million for this individual, Mr. Penny. That and let me just say this: I don't have a problem with a person being a good Samaritan, because we've seen videos. You and I, we all share these videos. We've seen men hitting women on the train. We see people fighting, being disrespectful, doing things. And what disgusts me in this world, Kev, too, is that we have people that sit back now and they want to get props on showing problems in this world. That for the life of me destroys me. I'm not going to sit back and watch a man beat a woman and tape it and be like, oh, I'm not getting involved in that. I'm not going to sit back and watch videos of cops being disrespected. I'm not going to sit back and tape anything that can go so left on so many accounts. But the one thing that I do think I would have done in regards to that situation on the train, I would have told Mr. Penny, and I call him Mr. Penny, okay, loosen up on the chokehold. You know what I'm trying to say? Or because you had multiple people holding him down, right? You have so I would have said that, but I want to get your thoughts on that whole situation and the fact that people have made this about a race issue, and they've risen, they rose $4 million for this gentleman. But go ahead, and then Kev, you can come and chime in when you get a chance.
Sure.
Thank you, Bill. Basically, like I said last week, society has been transformed, or I shouldn't even say transformed. It's seems like it's always been set up where people are empathetic for those who uh, resemble them or come from the neighborhoods they come from, and they tend to have uh, more consideration for those that look like them and those that come from the neighborhoods they come from. It's beyond me, because if that was a police officer that had done that to an individual, choked him out to death, not only would he be facing charges in Specs department, he'd be brought up on charges, and no one would be raising money for his defense. I don't even know if how the union would react to it, but
The union's always going to defend.
yeah,
That's a fact.
and I agree with you, but that situation there didn't have to happen, and as far as I'm concerned, from what I've seen and what I've heard, he wasn't really posing a threat to anyone. Some people can be belligerent and act out, and if you're that nervous, then you need to get out the city. If you're that nervous that because someone's acting belligerent or whatever, and you can't turn around and get on your phone and just dial 911 and move out of their way, then shame on you. To me, Mr. Penny was basically a vigilante.
Right.
And that's my concern.
And Kev, I'm gonna bring you in, but I want to say this: the one thing, like you said about the union, but also, Kev, think about this. You and Ty both think about if he was off duty, and we're both retired MOS. Imagine if we did that situation. The first thing the narrative would have been is they cops, F them.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? White, black, whomever it is. First and foremost, you would have did it. I would have did it. Ty would have did it. They would have been like, yo, F them. They're NYPD. So it's crazy to me that this country, not that they're not supposed to give love to a person that served in the military. All props to the military. My uncle was the first Black Marine. I have multiple family members that have served in this country, served for this country. I give all respect to that. I see how people now give more love to the military than they do the civil servants. That the things that we did. We were the first. All three of us were the first lines of defense. And you tell somebody you're a police officer, depending on who you tell, you might get a side eye or you might get a thank you for your service. Boom. But let me just ask you, what's your thoughts on that, Kevin, in regards to if that was one of us that did that, and your thoughts on the fact that they've raised $4 million for this individual, and your thoughts on the whole case in entirety.
Yeah, well, look, it's definitely different if it was us. We know we can't. Active working NYPD or not, we know we couldn't sit there and hold the guy's throat. Mm-hmm. Even before city council created a law, right now we couldn't touch him. Just for a takedown,
right,
would get us into trouble.
Because for all those that are listening, the chokehold was banded by the NYPD.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Kevin. I apologize.
And there are plenty of departments. I do a lot of training across the country. Lots of departments who use the chokehold to take somebody down. It's part of their training to hold them, choke them, and even knock them out at times to get them to the floor, help them get them back. So that's but NYPD, no, we can't. Yeah. So I do have a question on, you said you're hearing he wasn't belligerent. A couple of I've only seen.
No, I said he was belligerent.
Oh no, all he was belligerent, not threatening. Mm-hmm. I've seen a couple of people who were immediately after this who came off the train who said he was
what?
More threatening, more coming towards the aggression of violence. So that's where the fear was. I don't know where it stands. Don't have a clue. Right? Neither one of us was there. You know, the media getting reports out of the media. The one thing I am certain of, a chunk of it's just not true, both directions. Right? Like I don't believe. I wish the NYPD would release all the videos. Let us, because there's videos of before, after, during. We got a. The only we've gotten so far I've seen is the small clip during it. Right? They talk about it's 15 minutes of holding them. I don't see a 15-minute video released. It's the only time I know 15 minutes happens because the news told me 15 minutes. So I'm a little skeptical because history has shown the news is not always accurate.
Forthcoming.
Yeah. So it could be worse or better, depending upon your view of life, of what it is. But I wish in the end they would just release it all, because that's always the answer.
But at the end of the day, Kev,
yeah,
why choke the man out? Why construct?
No,
and the military and the military is trained in tactics, physical combat training, tactically.
Well, we don't know what this guy was trained in. We don't know
better than we are. So they're held to a certain standard.
But they're trained differently, Ty.
I know.
They're not trained to subdue, cuff, arrest.
No, they're not.
They're trained to.
But let me just interject. I've spoken to the military. Mark, if you're here, you might have to chime in on this. I should have brought my cousin in, who's a Marine, a retired Marine, and on what are they trained to do technically. Now, I understand in combat you're trained to hurt, right?
And hurts.
We're never trained to hurt. NYPD, we deal with the threat in regards to deadly force, but we've never been trained to hurt somebody in the point of combat. I'm probably, maybe the next time we come back, I'll get a military person. I'll ask my cousin Kev to come back and ask him what does the training actually entail, because the bottom line is, in the military, I don't think they can kill just to kill. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting this out in the universe, because Kev, I don't know.
Combat. So right. where you are killing, right? Like that's where they're trained in combat. They're not trained.
Yeah, but that's in a war zone, Kev.
I know, but we're throwing his training. We're throwing his training. So I'm just saying his training. His training is different than ours. Okay. You could say it's superior more. I don't know. Yeah, give me my quick opinion on this. One, I think he should have been arrested. Right, no question. If he held the guy's throat for 15 minutes, that's a crime.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, it is. But I get, and when we first talked about the first night, Stefania jumped on and defended him.
Yeah.
Right?
She did. Yeah.
People on the subways are being harassed, terrified, assaulted, threatened every single day, and they're scared.
I agree. I agree with you.
That's what's going on publicly at the moment. People take the subways.
Hold on, Ty. Hold on, and
and I said Ty first. He needs to be arrested. Like I'm on this. I'm just giving you you're like. I was shocked when I saw it. Not shocked, but a little bit surprised. Saw some of the people in our group who were like, and Stefania was one of them. Defending him, and there are lots of people who are defending him.
I want to ask you a question, then I'm going to bring Rich in, and then I want to ask you this, Ty.
Bill, I just wanted to rebut one thing that Kev was saying.
Sure, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I agree with you that people on the train are scared from the violence, the assaults, whatever's going on. But all of that's going on the train has been going on since before we even went into law enforcement. There
was an improvement, Ty. There
was an improvement, but I'm going to tell you what it is, and point blank, and from my observation, is that you have a lot of individuals that have moved into the city from other places that aren't used to city environment, and the city, since there was an improvement, now they're trying to keep it or make it seem like this isn't the way it's supposed to be, which it isn't the way it's supposed to be. But this is the way it is in most, sadly to say, in most inner cities, and it's been this way. And how have they combated it? You call 911 and let 911 deal with it. Okay, that's my thing. This dude shouldn't have did what he did. And
yeah. Kev, let me ask you a question, and then I'm gonna bring Rich in. And I saw the comments. I'm gonna read your comment, Eddie. I think, and loving God. Kev, he wasn't arrested. I think I'm saying a week later.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you this: do you think that was because he was white or a Marine?
Neither.
What do you think it was for?
So I went through this the first night. Think of what's happened in this last year. You had that bodega worker who was arrested
right away.
Right away.
2 blocks from my house. 2 blocks from my house.
And what was the backlash for it?
They released him because
Did Bragg and the DA's office get backlash for that? Did they get repeated? Right.
Yes.
You had the guy in the parking attendant who took the gun from the guy and shot him.
Yes.
They get arrested. Backlash. So remember what you got to remember. What the totality of the year was going on. So we arrested quickly and got beat up for it. Took a pause this time. The pause is the right move.
But Kev, the question, not to cut you off, the question that Bill asked was, do you think he was not arrested because he was white or a Marine? Both those individuals you mentioned were arrested and they weren't white. You understand what I'm saying? So that's
well then you can say Bragg's office is racist. Fine.
No,
that's who it's a homicide arrest has to be authorized by the DA. They're the ones authorizing that. So
I get it. And that's why I asked you that, Kev.
Can I say something, man?
The office that
you can't.
Hold on, Rich. Because I want you to come in when you're ready. I know you're ready, but I want to ask Kev this question because the bottom line is Kev has knowledge of that unit. You know what I'm saying? Without disclosing a lot of things, he has knowledge of that unit, and I understand what he's saying. Whether I agree or disagree, I just wanted to see his perspective of that, because the bottom line is there are so many people right here that are making this a black-white situation. So when Kev took the route and said when they arrested the other 2 individuals that they jumped a gun and they got backlash. He's not saying it's neither nor. All right, Rich, come on in, Rich.
Okay. They were arrested because that's what the law calls for, them to be arrested. They didn't get released because of backlash. They got released after the investigation took place and saw what the cause was and what happened. That's why they got released. They didn't get released because people say, oh, you should release them. No, that's not what happened.
Yeah, great.
Those were people of color, and it always happens like that. We get arrested off the grip. White folks, they got to figure it out.
Yeah, let's see how we're going to work this out. And that's the way it goes.
It's a black man, the mayor's a black man, and the police commissioner is a black woman.
And what's your point?
Those are all high-profile things. That's the authorization goes to the top. So if you're saying this is race, it's race from the top.
It's a race from the system. It's systematic racism.
There's plenty of systematic racism.
You don't understand what systematic racism is.
Who's the system today?
That's the problem. You don't understand that it's embedded in society and the system.
I'm with you, and I get it. Believe me, there's plenty of racist stuff out there. I'm just
Kev, you're not with me.
They're the system.
You're not with me.
That's who's the system.
Kev, you just ignore the fact that this does not happen to white folks.
Okay,
dismiss it.
I didn't dismiss it. I'm just saying black folks are the ones in charge.
You my dude and all of that. But it's true. White men can't jump.
That's true. I'm God's worst basketball player on the planet. If we ever played,
you can't jump, but you can jump to conclusions. So that's where y'all make up. I like that one. That's where you make up for that. By jumping to conclusions.
Let me read some comments, everybody. This is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Todd Butler. That's Richard Williams. That's Kevin Brizzetti, and I'm Bill Forster. This is the round table that we give you every Wednesday. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about the issues. Also, too, I wanted to ask Kev and Rich and Ty their thoughts on in San Francisco about the security guard that shot the unarmed man and their thought process. We want to talk about that. We got to top. We got a strong hour, but I just want to get into this, and we're still going hot and heavy. Let me read some comments from people. Eddie Vieira, my brother, he says, I agree with Ty. People have been harassed and threatened in the subway since the beginning. It's a New York City thing. It's not good, but common. It happens on the street too, but you can't choke a person out. Absolutely. I think, like what in reference to what you were saying, Kev, I think people are so tired of the lawless behavior in the streets, but this is a person with mental illness. So where's the empathy for that? And also, too, like I said, we got to touch on that color aspect, because the bottom line is, people went all the way. Oh, he's a hero. He's a hero. Wait a minute. He and people want to bring up his past. I get that, but nobody knew his past until he got.
You don't wear a sign on you saying, "Here's what I've done in the past." Right?
Exactly.
Bill, I'm with you on that. I've always hated to bring up the past of anybody.
Absolutely. Listen, let's stay with what actually happened.
Yeah.
Verbally harassing, threatening, talking smack. Because the bottom line is, I think the four of us right here, the first thing we would have said to ourselves is like, he better get that shit out somewhere else, because I'll bust his whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then, long as he ain't touching anybody else, maybe one of us or all of us are going to say, yo, money, fall back and chill. But the bottom line is, we wouldn't have put our hands on him, because let me tell you something. The code in this game is like, yo, if you come over here, I'm going to give you the business. But the bottom line is, to implement it, and then let me tell you this, from multiple ways, from martial artists, a lot of things from the street, and we all know this. The only way you can implement a chokehold is you got to be behind a person, right? To get that great of submission on that person, he had to be behind him. So that means he snuck up behind him. I'm telling you, from a martial arts standpoint, to get a chokehold like that, he snuck up behind him. So the thing is, no matter what he was saying and doing, he didn't hit anybody on that train. No one yet has come out and said he hit somebody that day. Is he liable for arrest from a legal standpoint?
Or brandish a weapon? Or did he brandish a weapon?
Listen,
right. So I mean, my thing is, like, listen, I don't know what Mr. Penny's thought is. I know from a legal standpoint, he's an ass for going out speaking to these social media cats, right? Like what? Yo, you going out here talking to the Post, and you going out here talking to people. Yo, what lawyers do you have that would tell you, yo, go ahead and do that? Like, that's right. You bugging, B. Let me read Eddie.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just say this. Everybody's level of fear and everybody's threat level is different. Every individual, right? You have those that are fearful when someone says boo to them. You have those that are fearful when a weapon comes out. You have those that are fearful that if somebody gets up in their face and flinches, they're fearful. And now that the demographics in New York has changed drastically within the last 15 to 20 years, I'm telling you that you have a lot of individuals that aren't used to the fear or threat level that we are used to. Forget about us coming from law enforcement, just growing up in the city, period. Okay? And I don't know anything about this dude's past. All I know is that what I saw and what happened and what transpired shouldn't have happened, and he should have been arrested like he was. And I don't think anyone should be calling him a hero. Okay, that's my opinion. And like Bill said, most chokeholds come from behind. So who was he posing a threat to that you came and yoked him up? It definitely wasn't to Mr. Penny. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Let me just read some comments real quick. Eddie Vieira also said, he said, real talk. Trump unlocked the bigots in this country. They were hiding. These are ignorant people call and murder a hero. Pre-Trump, this money wouldn't have been raised. Thoughts and comments on that?
Yeah. It's hard to measure that, but I don't think so. I think it would have still happened.
Yeah, I think I'm with Kev on that. I think they still would have raised that money regardless about Trump.
Yeah.
because that's what white folks do.
Rich on fire. Get him, Rich.
I gotta check. I gotta check.
Little-
And listen, we gotta check Kev's account. Kev might have sent him some money too.
Yeah. let me read my man Mustafa. He said the difference is there is no accountability. Perpetrators are mentally ill, don't get held.
Check
Vigilante
out
acts
right
are
now.
going to be more and more. The subway incident was not a race, but he went way beyond. He needed to be locked up. Let me ask you a question, Mustafa. And Mustafa is a friend of the show. He's been on the show. In your opinion, why did you say it's not race? I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not agreeing with you. I'm just asking you, why did you say it's not race? Christina said, Kevin, have you read the book Stamped? Read it and you will understand what Richard is saying. Systematic racism is built into the system. Anthony Dolce, what's up, brother? How are you, man? It's been a minute since I've seen you and spoken to you. He said no one knew his past at that moment. Anthony also says the killer came from behind and two others held him down for 15 minutes. Where was the NYPD? Good point. Kevin Prentice in the building. Shout out to our 2A brother, Kev. Good to see you, man. Ken Do in the building. Stefani said, LOL, Rich is hilarious. Christina said, Kev, get his checkbook. Anthony also said, the NYPD should be investigated for letting the killer leave the precinct without being charged. Privilege. And Anthony is white, just to let everybody know. That's how he's feeling about that. So,
Yo, we need
anyway,
some new white blood on this show, man.
huh?
We need some new white blood on this show.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've always extended the olive branch that anybody is always welcome to join the show. Ask me, I'll send you the link. I'm working. Shout out to my man Danny D. He's told me that he's going to try to help me solidify where I can get a call in, so people can call in if you don't want to speak, come on, but you can definitely call in. I'm working on that. Hopefully, over by the end of the summer, before the summer is over, I will have that. Stefani said, Uncle Kev, why did the mayor of Rockland County decline to accept the migrants? That's not very nice. Oh, she changed up the whole comment. Ken Do, what's up, brother? Keep up the good work. I appreciate you, brother. We can talk about that in a minute. Because I don't know because we could talk about the migrants and DeSantis anyway too. But what's your so what do you think is going to happen? I personally think he's going to get charged with a crime. They've raised $4 million for his legal defense. They said the money, whatever's not used for the legal defense, will go to mentally illness and stuff like that. Okay, that's nice. But right now we got a problem.
What's
right
going
here.
to the family? How much is going to the family? You know?
Well, he was estranged from the family for a minute, but I don't disagree with you, Rich. But he was estranged from his family.
Okay, but what I'm saying to you is the brother got to get buried, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they spending all the negative shit about him. Do they talk about whether he has children? You know, I mean, how does that affect? And a person could be estranged from the family, but it may not be everybody in the family. There's somebody that loves him.
Yeah, I'm not saying no one didn't love him. I just said he was estranged from his family. But I do agree with putting the money towards combating mental illness. And that's the other thing. That's the elephant in the room that we never addressed. And I don't even hear the news talking about it. And I think it started with the Bloomberg administration or before Bloomberg, when they started closing all these mental illness facilities and putting people out on the street as outpatient.
That was Giuliani.
Giuliani, yes.
No.
No?
The courts did that.
No, Kev.
The courts, the city lost lawsuits. We used to bring them in. You get the 72-hour hold.
I remember.
The state lost lawsuits. The courts overturned those. We
Well,
weren't allowed to do that.
Well, shame on the administration for
And
doing
if you go back even further with institutionalizing people, right? We had New York City has big institutions, right? There's Creedmoor in Queens. It's a ghost town.
Which they closed down. They closed them all down. Even the one in Kings County, they closed it down.
All the Rockland Psych by me, right? Yeah. They've all been closed down.
But see, there's a difference. The 72-hour hold is compared to being institutionalized. For someone to be institutionalized, they go through a series of evaluations, right? And then they will institutionalize them, or they'll put them on medication and observe them for a certain period of time. But the 72-hour hold gave these individuals the opportunity to get some assistance, to get medication, and to be evaluated. And now it's left up to somebody to decide whether to make them an outpatient or make them an inpatient. And shame on the city for what they did, the court system. Shame on them.
I'll give you a personal experience with mental health and how quickly they release. This is my kid, right? So I had multiple incidents where I had to call 911 for my kid wanting to hurt himself. I had police show up, ambulance, mental health facilities all show up at my house, taken to the hospital. My kid had a noose in his room to hang himself. All right. The hospital, psych, 5 minutes, released.
No medication?
5 minutes, dude.
And they didn't give him any medication?
5 minutes out the door. You're okay now. You're fine.
Wow.
And that's personal firsthand. That ain't no been there.
That's no BS. Yeah,
I
that's
can
no
tell a
BS.
longer story, but I'm not in the mood to go through the
No,
emotion.
I got you. I got you. That's crazy.
That's what our system has become. They are not in it to hold them anymore.
And they're not trying to help them.
Institutionalizing. We don't do it, and we need to flip that on its head. We need to look. If my kid is that, or my kid is a heroin addict and needs help, I want them institutionalized.
Right.
And give them a chance to help. But we don't have that in our society. It does not exist. For this guy's mental health, we know it. What years ago, what we used to do is NYPD. People like that, we just kept locking up and they'd sit on Rikers for months on end.
But they shouldn't go to Rikers.
I agree. But that was the only thing we could do was we keep arresting him. He would get arrested, and he get 30 days, 60 days, 90 days on Rikers. And the guy with this guy or that any guy with real mental health issues they would be all Rikers was packed with them. And we don't do that anymore.
I recall being trained how to deal with EDP situations, right? Emotionally disturbed people, right? And
we had a whole segment on that, right?
Yes.
In the academy.
Yes. Yep. And I'll tell you this from firsthand experience, watching over the years how some officers would act. And this goes back to what I told you about empathy. Yep. I seen them where when it comes to a color or an environment that they live in, how they react to individuals who are emotionally disturbed. I remember, in short story, I remember responding to a job. The guy was a Vietnam veteran living in the projects, right? Older man. And we got there. The man wasn't threatening anyone. The wife called. He was laying in bed, but he was, shouting, and he wasn't taking his medication. And we tried to talk him out of the room to get him out, to get up and come out of the room. He wasn't barricaded, anything like that.
Yeah.
And it got to a point when he wasn't moving. He said, I'm not going anywhere. Now guys started walking across his bed in their combat boots. I'm watching them. I'm like, what are you doing? Relax. Walking across the bed in the combat boots to yank this older man, Vietnam vet, out of bed to make him go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I don't listen. I don't make certain statements without a lot of observation. Believe me. And that's the problem. And I guarantee you, when the courts did what they did, they evaluated they evaluated what they had. Just like when you look at the jail system, look at the percentages of individuals who are in jail and for crimes. Does that mean that there aren't crimes committed in certain communities? Absolutely not. When they looked at they evaluated the personnel in the mental institutions within the city and outside the city, same thing. Now, there's a lot of contributing factors, right? Some people are born with chemical imbalances. Some people have traumatic experiences throughout their lives that set them off. And I'm a firm believer that each and every one of us, including us on the panel, are damaged. Everybody in society is damaged in some sort of way, shape, form, or manner. Some to some degrees and some to others. Now, how you deal with that is based on you, the individual. And some people who can't deal with stress and can't deal with certain traumatic experiences that have occurred, they need help. We have more than enough doctors out here that they can turn around and they can set up care for these individuals, and they don't do it.
Kev, I'm gonna let you rebuttal, and then I'm gonna bring Rich in. Hold on, Rich.
Put me in, coach.
All right, hold on, Rich. I just want Kev to rebuttal, and then I'm gonna bring you in, Rich. Go ahead.
Ty, I'm with you on the mental health stuff here, and it's like a lot of things. It's poverty, right?
Yes.
Because you got money. There are institutions, mental health institutions, drug rehabs, good ones, are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
They are tens, if not tens of thousands a month. And so if you don't have a network that can pay for that, your network becomes the street. Look, this guy, for example, his network became the street. He's estranged from his family. And as a family, I get it. I get sometimes you got to turn your back on a family member and you got to say, I can't do anything anymore. And you got to let them live on the street. And you hope one day they ask for help and you can get them their help. But we don't have structure for poor people. For poor people with mental health, for poor people for everything. Right? Poverty is the key to it all, whether it's incarceration or mental health or everything else.
They don't want to have structure, Kevin, because it helps society for those who are wealthy to constantly excel. They don't want to help, believe me. But
come in, Rich.
I agree with you, Kev. I agree with you.
Come in, Rich.
Okay, now the stuff that Kevin was saying, I agree with it. Even when you go back,
just repeat that.
I agree with what Kev said.
I got to record it.
And let me qualify this. When he said that the courts kind of shut down these institutions, he's right, because they were mismanaged. People were being abused and mistreated in these mental facilities. There was no oversight. So therefore, these incidents were occurring of all kinds of atrocities, and they were suing the city and the state to the degree that they couldn't afford to provide that service anymore. So it transitioned into what it is now. If a person displays psychotic or crazy behavior, they call the EMS, the EDP, they come and get them, and they evaluate them based on how they're acting now, not what they did before. If you're not acting crazy now, they let you go.
Yep.
Right? And most of these guys know this, right? Now, what Kev said about being able to afford treatment is just like the justice system. Justice is only for people that can afford to pay for it. Yep. If you are a person that has these needs as mental illnesses, there are institutions that are private and you can pay for that. Just like these expensive drug treatment programs. You can pay to have your loved ones put in there and they will keep them as long as you pay them. Right? Yeah. So again, if you don't have the money, you're not going to get the right service. So we're dealing with a situation now where, the homeless and people that you deem to be crazy, all of that is relative in a sense, because what you might think is crazy, somebody else doesn't think it is. And it boils down to, are they causing harm to anyone? Is somebody being hurt? Case in point, this guy. Did he hurt anyone? Did he hit anyone? Did he brandish a weapon? I mean, how did the guy get in the position to have reared him and choked him? And then we're not even talking about the other two clowns that was holding his arm, that were accessories to this murder. Did they get arrested? Should they be charged? I think so. And I think they should have been arrested at the scene. Now, bottom line is, the man is dead. For what? For spazzing out? That's a crime to kill someone. He didn't harm anyone. There's nothing that surfaced that said he threw a punch, he had a weapon. there's nothing that surfaced. And if it was there, it would have surfaced by now.
Can I ask this, Ty, Rich, and Bill? If he
Yes,
had
sir.
thrown a punch, if he had was punching a woman in the head, would this be okay?
You could
But
restrain him.
Kevin, let me answer that. Let me answer that. Kevin, we got a saying in the hood. If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk.
No, I'm just. I'm going to say no.
No, but you're saying if this happened, if that happened, we
no,
he's
asking. No,
you ever saw Dragnet? You ever saw Dragnet, Kev? Kev,
Rich,
just the facts. Just
Rich,
the facts.
he's asking a question, in a rhetorical question. He knows the answer.
He's asking a hypothetical question.
Well, and he already knows the answer. He agrees that this shouldn't have happened. The man shouldn't have been choked out. But he's saying even if he did, but even if he did hit someone,
do you think the other two should be arrested?
Absolutely, they should all
charged.
They should all be arrested and charged.
But are they?
Listen, I'll give you.
What do they look like?
I'll give you a scenario that everyone would have been charged and no one would have been raising money for them. If it was 3 black boys and a white woman that was acting crazy on the train and they choked her out, what would have happened? What would have happened? They would have been like the Central Park 5, okay? Yep. And they would have been guilty.
I'll argue you didn't have to use a white one. You could have used a black woman.
No, I wanted to use a white woman because you know what?
And race out of it, and I think just because it's a woman, we would have.
But it hits. See how you're on the defensive, and that's what I'm trying to show you. It shows that the sensitivity level when someone thinks of. If I say a white woman, the first thing you're going to think of is someone who your mother, your wife, your sister. If you say a black woman, I'm going to think my mother, my sister, my wife. You understand what I'm saying? 100%. So, and same thing when you say a black man and another black man, he's like, oh, it could be my brother, my father, my cousin, or my nephew. You know, so this is what I'm trying to convey, that society needs some desensitizing towards the fact that, listen, when you see someone, we understand that, you know, if you're not used to, the hairs on the back of your neck are going to stand up because you're fearful, but you have to turn around and take a moment. If you have a moment and it's not a life or death threatening situation, take a moment and assess the situation and say, you know what, let me handle this in a way. Just because this person's acting like this, it doesn't mean that I have to turn around and use deadly force or physical deadly force.
I'm with you. Empathy. Look, the NYPD didn't teach it, right? That was
not at all.
Not in the academy. Not when you get to a precinct, right? It's not just
even after training.
It's frowned upon.
Yes.
More, right? It is natural to feel more empathetic for people that look like you. That is an actual natural thing in life. Where
but it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. But my question becomes, how do we teach youth? Because that's where it starts, right? To be more empathetic for people who don't look like them. How do we teach that in society?
But you know how most.
Can I answer that?
But
I don't know.
I'm gonna answer. I'll let you answer, Rich, real quick. You know how most youth learn it, and I'm gonna tell you how. By playing sports, and when they play on athletic teams, no matter what the sport is, and you have mixed races on the team,
that's the key.
They a lot of times the boys and the girls learn at a younger age to be empathetic for one another, regardless of how they look, because they're their teammate, and that sometimes occurred within the NYPD. You know, that's why they called it the blue wall and this and that. Sometimes, you know, but the thing is that people have to recognize this within themselves, because if they don't recognize it within themselves, there's no help.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rich. I'm sorry. I know you had more.
Nah, I'm used to this. You know.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, he's hilarious. I'm used to it.
Hold
on, everybody. Let me just read some comments, fellas. Take a break.
Yeah,
let me get everybody.
We got to go to a commercial break when it's my turn.
It's systemic elderism.
Go ahead. You said
no.
Bill.
This is systemic elderism on this show. We don't appreciate
no.
We got to pay the bills, man. Pay the bills.
No, Rich. Go, please. No, go
I'm
ahead.
the youngest.
Go ahead, I can wait. Go
That's
ahead,
what I'm
Rick.
saying. Rich is the
Back
old.
to what
we
you were
ignoring.
saying about how this stuff is taught, and we got to teach. Kevin said this. We got to teach the youth, right? You said that, right?
Sure.
Got to start somewhere.
The problem is, who's teaching the teacher that's teaching the youth? What have they learned that they're going to spread that message to the children?
Yeah.
It's
So we
those
have to
two-
find the right messenger to teach
Agreed.
the youth,
Yeah.
because what we're stuck with is people that have already been poisoned.
Yeah.
The minds have been poisoned already. So you're teaching them from where you at. You're teaching them how you learn. What you learn is how you teach it.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
we missing stuff in these lessons. And until America,
Huh. You see what happened?
and how
Look,
this
yeah,
country
Bill.
was
Yo,
built.
what a face.
Great
Hold
snapshot of
on.
Rich.
Yeah, hold on. Let me read some comments. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. If you're watching it from YouTube, subscribe to it. If
Money
you're
and
not watching it from
chaos, and all people care about that are in control is the bottom line when it pertains to money. They will find a way to make money in anything. They will control both narratives, the shit that caused the problem, and they want to be the ones to solve the problem. So they want to control that narrative and monetize it as best they can. These homeless people, the way they can get money off of the homeless people, instead of putting them in these institutions and not getting the money from their insurance companies, is lock their asses up, waiting for them to do something where they can lock them up. Now they're in jail. You know, it ain't about whether they want to be homeless or not. You're not homeless, you're in jail. So now you're working in that machine. So that's what I'm talking about.
comments, questions before I read some comments.
Just to say this, and I'm going to refresh Kevin's and Bill's memory. I don't know if Rich knows. So a few years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was a lieutenant in ESG that handled a situation in Bed-Stuy where an EDP who was butt naked on the fire escape was just acting erratic. He wasn't talking about jumping. He wasn't hurting anyone. And the lieutenant, I don't know if he shot the taser or he ordered someone to shoot the taser. And the guy locked up and fell off the fire escape and died. And the lieutenant took it hard, after the fact, and he killed himself. And I give you that story so to understand it. A lot of times after the damage is done, if the situation isn't assessed properly when it's happening, a lot of times, now people are sympathetic to what had happened, but they have to learn to try and be empathetic when the situation is occurring before you act. That's all.
Let me just read some comments and questions. Shout out to everybody watching. Appreciate everybody watching. Like I said, if you're not subscribed to it, please do by YouTube. If you're watching by Facebook, just go to YouTube when you get a chance to subscribe to Real Talk Chronicles. This is the show that we give you real talk. You got former law enforcement, you got community activists, you got people that are coming. I'm trying to set it up where you guys can be able to call in and converse with us and give us your thoughts and comments. We really appreciate that. Let me just read some comments when I go down. This is the first every Monday, first Monday every month. We've got Assemblyman Al Taylor. The second Monday of the month, we have Dr. Marilyn Corder. The third, we have Allison Williams. The fourth, we have Malika and I having the Forsters. And every Wednesday, we have these gentlemen right here giving their expertise. Shout out to Norman C. He might be getting one of you guys Wednesdays, but we definitely got to bring him back and have this conversation. So I'm just going to read some comments or questions. And if they're questions, I'll come back to them. If they're comments, I just want to say that. What's up, Roscoe? Roscoe's in the building. Shout out to the undercover show that he's doing. Appreciate you.
That's not chicken and waffles?
No, that's not Roscoe Chicken and Waffles. Danny, former 2-8 narco brother. He said, unfortunately, the lieutenant killed himself because he knew that the NYP was going after him. RIP to the lieutenant. You know, that's a shame because a lot of people with this job, they get so immersed in this job that they don't know anything else. I had people that I know personally that have lost their job and become better individuals. When I say better, they survived and they got another career. Like this wasn't the be all or end all for them. Danny said the lieutenant ordered the officer to shoot. Very sad story. Eunice, the message should start in the home. Danny Cabrera also said a lot of this is inner city teachers are getting a culture shock because they never dealt with brown and black people, and then they have to teach them. That's absolutely, that goes back to what Rich was saying earlier in regards who's teaching the teacher. You know, there was a video out here in regards to a teacher calling the N-word in class, thinking he could do it just because he could do it. T Little is in the building. She said, "Children live what they learn." Absolutely. Christina said, "Empathy starts in the home and the schools. Teams and social play are great segues." Danny also said, Danny also says, he says, "Does the NYPD have the full video of this incident?" I'm sure they do. By now they should have everything. T Little said, "I have mixed feelings. I ride NY New York City Transit every day. It's scary. I know it is." Shout out to my cousin Ariel. He has a lot of music out right now, aspiring artist. Ariel, put the link in, baby. You know, your song was supposed to be my intro. I apologize for that, but I'm gonna make it happen, brother. I appreciate you. I got so much going on. Eddie Vieira says to Kevin, "Sorry you and your sons went through that. My dad has schizophrenia, and the only way New York City hospitals would keep him and treat him was when he would say he didn't care and wanted to die." So yeah, you know, it's a sad thing when that happens. Ken Do, he says, yes, the word empathy, power word, seldom utilized. Loving God says, when our citizens realize that God teaches us to honor him above all else, then love your neighbors as you love yourself. We live by common respect. Coop G says, he says, everybody in New York who rides the subway knows Neely or have seen him many times. I gave him money when he was performing. Everybody's seen him rant and rave. We would ignore him and he would say his piece, then move on to the next train car or get off when it stops. He's been doing this for years, straight murder. He got charged with second-degree manslaughter. Facts. Mustafa says, another 2-8 brother, narco person in the house. He said, we are quick to pull out the race card. An incident took place and someone took action. An incident like this one can happen every day, but it doesn't. So that's why you saying it's not about race or whatever. Ken Do, shout out to Ken Do, my brother. He said, if they raise millions toward the defense fund, defense, we should put money to bury him. I feel that the one filming and held to hold him down should also be charged. That's something I think Rich was saying and Ty said too. Eddie Vieira also says, it's imprinted in many whites that black or brown are threats. If he was white, the Marine would have just told him to chill because he needed mental help. Real talk. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I am Bill Forster. That's Rich Williams, Ty Butler, and Kevin Branzetti. Coop G said, great topic. Everyone is coming from a good place and is on point. Love it, Bill. And
I throw one last thing about the money being raised for him. And this goes back to my statement earlier. I wish NYPD or DA's office would just release the entire video so people can tell. If you read different media outlets, right, there are media outlets who are portraying him as a hero, that he's defending people on the train.
You saw some footage like that?
But that's part of the reason why people are giving money, right? If you read a right-wing
footage like that,
would I release it?
No, did you see it?
No, he's saying they should release it.
They have to release the whole thing. No, I haven't seen that.
That means it exists. Is there any footage that exists other than what was shown?
We don't know.
We don't know. But the PD can also state that. They can say,
I thought you were saying that that's why people are donating money.
Because if you're reading right-wing news, they're reporting him as a hero who was protecting people on the subway, right? So people, and that's all the news. Some people read is that right.
Okay, but did you read it? Did you read it?
I read very little news.
No. You said that this is in the news. I'm trying to get some context here. Did you see that?
No, Rich, you're confused on what.
No, I'm not confused. I hear
That's not
exactly what he's saying.
No, that's not
Attorney, can I speak to the client?
No. Let Bill.
What I want to know is,
listen. Let Bill do his show.
What he's saying, what Kevin is saying. I'm asking him, where is he getting that information from?
He said he started off saying he wished NYPD would release the whole video. Which
means there's more to it.
And by them not releasing the whole video, it gives the news, whether it's right or left wing, the opportunity to put their own twist to the situation, which influences, which goes forth to influence individuals to act in accordingly and not to act.
You're hired, Ty.
I got that part, but
I'm writing right now.
Kevin, I'm talking to your attorney now. Counselor, what you said implies that there is more footage, and if so, where did you get that information from? That there is more footage that has not been seen. Is there something something in a discovery that says that there's more footage than they're showing?
And what Kevin said was he does not know.
That's not what I asked him. I'm asking you that.
You
didn't allow me to question your client.
We do not know. We do not know.
Okay, so for you to put that out there, as the judge would say,
speculation.
You cannot introduce that evidence.
Okay, you're wasting time, Rich. Go ahead, Bill.
No, I'm trying to check the bullshit.
I know what you're trying to do.
I'm trying to check the bullshit. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's Kevin Branzetti. That's Ty Butler. That's Richard Williams. I am Bill Forster. This is the round table on every Wednesday. You know, like I said, shout out to everybody watching, chiming in. Let me read some comments. Danny said, Billy, I think as an inner city kids that we were born and raised in the city should push this mayor to have more after school programs. So his kids, to keep them active. We're not educating these kids at a young age how to deal with problems. He also says, I think we're living in a digital world, and I believe that every single subway car should have a camera. I totally agree with that. Let me just say this. I think the reason why this Mr. Penny has raised so much money is because of something that T was saying, and then some people were also saying that people were just so tired of crime, and this is just one person that took a heroic stance, even though it was a deadly stance. I think it was a wrong stance in the sense that a life was lost. Do I know this man? I don't know if it was race motivated. I know that the fact that he did something that I don't know who he was protecting, because the bottom line is I'm not bringing up this man's past. We all know when we testified, Ty, Kevin, ourselves, you can't bring up somebody's past. You know what I'm saying? You may know that he may have priors, but you can't bring that up in court.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say that when I hear people say, "Oh, well, he has 40 other priors," and I don't want to hear that. Let's talk about the actual fact of what he did that day.
Yeah.
Now,
40 priors matters if this is a domestic and the woman kills him.
What'd you say?
I said 40 priors matter if this is like a domestic and the woman kills him.
Yeah. Because I think we all be like, dude got it. You know what I'm saying? You're real talk.
This priors do not matter, and it's just slander on somebody. We shouldn't do it.
So Stefania says, Rich, I've actually have seen right-wing news shows, and they do portray that Neely was a danger and that the killer was a hero. They bash Neely's character. See, that's where I have a problem at, and that's when it becomes a white and a black situation. Let's deal with the topic. The bottom line is, old boy took a stance, right? He should. If you want to hold him down and wrestle him, and
if he would have dislocated his shoulder,
hey Kev, hey Bill, he's a hero because he protected the cart from a guy that was talking shit.
Yep.
That's what he's a hero for. He's a hero because he choked the motherfucker to death that was talking shit. That makes him a hero? Get the fuck out of here. Come on, man.
I just got a text from a great source that says, when I was an MTA board member, security, I expressed my position that all new train cars should be required and have cameras, and they shot him down. Shout out to my man. He will be back eventually one day. Mustafa said if the deceased did not die, will we be talking about the response for the department? Anybody want to respond to that real quick?
As you said, if he would have grabbed him in an armbar, chucked him to the floor, maybe dislocated his shoulder,
I don't think we would have cared really too much, right? Nah.
Nope.
Nah. Listen, yo, dude, because the bottom line is what we didn't see is what we could have been told. Like, yo, I saw him about to hit this woman, so I jumped into action. I slammed him down. I did a move. Blah blah blah. His arm got dislocated. Okay, yo, no harm, no foul. You know, Marine, whatever. Don't get charged. Would that have been racist? I don't know. Now, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, would he have did that to a white person? We don't know. Would he have been physical with a white person? I don't know. But the climate that we live in, Mustafa, is that white, black, Latin, everything is racist. Migrants, everything. DeSantis is off the chain. You know what I'm saying?
Not race. Not to correct you, Bill. Not racist. Prejudice.
Oh, prejudice. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Racist, you gotta have the power. And
yeah,
the people
absolutely.
who have the power is the DA's office, the NYPD. Those people have the power. That the Marine Penny had the power that day on the train because he had him in a certain situation. So that's when prejudice turns into racism.
Hey, but yo, the truth is, if the guy on the ground was white and it was three brothers that did that to him, I would be saying they asses need to go to jail.
Yep, I would too.
Right?
I would too.
But the truth is, they would have went to jail. We wouldn't even have to be talking about this shit. Them motherfuckers would right now be in fucking central booking, locked the fuck up. Post bail, they wouldn't even let that bail reform touch them. They would have been locked the fuck up.
Yo,
and there would have been, you know how much money they would have raised for Bubba?
Nah. Well, listen, it's a sad thing in its entirety that Mr. Neely's burial only raised like $100,000 and some odd $1,000, and Mr. Penny has raised over $4 million. It just tells you the climate and the thought process of this world today. Loving God said, brothers, God's ways are above man's ways. The blind leading the blind both fall into a ditch. And then he gives a scripture. Danny says, this reminds me of the 1980s when the case happens that the subway with the kids. What case are you talking about? We got another. Bernie Getz. Oh Lord Jesus Christ! Let's not talk about.
I got the San Francisco video, Bill.
We're going to show the San Francisco video for those that don't want to see it. You know, turn away for a minute. You know,
big warning labels up.
Yeah, we put it. The warning labels up. Good disclaimer.
Is it a white guy getting killed?
No,
Rich,
watch this, Rich. Watch this, Rich.
Watch the video. Watch it.
All right, let me make sure my sound's on. The guy in black is the security guard.
I didn't see the shoplifter throw a blow.
Nah.
All he's doing is resisting. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. He kills him?
Wait, Ty, you'll see it. Yep. He kills him. Not with his hands, though.
Oh, wow.
Not with his hands. Not with his hands.
And look how people are just walking by. One guy stops and watches.
We are so desensitized by this.
So let him go.
Now he pulls out a gun.
No. Oh. No.
Yep.
And that's not race. That's black on black.
Now he hasn't been charged by no means. He's not been charged.
And that's not a racist situation.
And he has not been charged.
Wow. Wow.
All right. Like, look, the person's stealing. He's stopping him from going out. Fine. All good. Is the other person female?
It's a male.
You sure?
Yeah.
Thought I saw one in the article.
Yo, it kills me. People just walking like.
Well, we can go over video after video of people who just walk by. Of some.
Now this guy wants to look and pay attention to this. Yeah. Gets up and leaves, threatens him or whatever he does. And dude, wait a minute. How do you shoot somebody after you done choked them out? Yeah.
I do want to understand that one guy who's standing there with his hands watching.
Yeah.
That guy intrigues me. Like,
yeah.
Who is this?
Todd, let me go to you first, Todd. What's your thoughts on this, man? What's Todd go?
Lost Ty.
Oh, I got Ty again. Ty, what's your thoughts on that, man?
I'm lost for words, bro. That right there is a straight massacre. Like, for what? For what? And now you're gonna tell me the company he's working for, what's that, Target? It looked like a Target.
I think it was Target or Walgreens, one of the two. Yeah.
They're gonna back that man, that security guard, for doing that?
They did. Yeah.
Wow.
Rich, your thoughts?
What my thoughts are?
Yes, sir.
That motherfucker and Walgreens should get shut down. Wherever he's working should get shut down if they're backing that action.
Wow.
That motherfucker is straight committed homicide.
Wow.
Period.
Yeah.
In broad daylight.
Wow.
That man was retreating out of the store. He just got his ass whipped. I mean, that dude that they hired, I guarantee you, he probably got a prison record. That when you say shit like, yo, I'm going to come back and get you, he said, oh, it rings a bell in his head. Oh, you ain't going nowhere. Wow. So whatever the dude said to him, because we don't hear what's being said, but apparently he said something to him that made him pull that gun out, because he already showed he couldn't physically beat him. So why would the guy shoot him if he was no threat to him physically? He made a verbal threat, and I'm just speculating with that one. But something made him want to shoot him, and it had to be words, because it wasn't him kicking his ass, because clearly he got his ass kicked. So
Kev?
That brother needs to go to the big house.
I'm going to show you the interview of him.
Oh, please.
Oh, an interview with who?
Security guard.
Who else he gonna interview? The other guy's dead.
No, he can interview people that saw it.
The guy's dead.
I said people that saw it. Counselor.
I gotta stick with Rich on that one. It could have been the guy holding his arms.
Pay attention.
Counselor, you gotta slowly pump your brakes, all right?
I can't hear it. I'm upset.
And so she refused. I went and went to reach for the item, and that's when I was basically there was aggressive energy. Um, I'm not sure what her intentions was on trying to attack me or whatever, but the fact that I was trying to get the items back and she was fighting me to keep the items and all that, and I you know, got in position because I was scared that my shoulder would dislocate because I had a previous injury and it hasn't healed all the way. So um, I'm sitting here tussling, thinking that she's going to attack me because I went.
It was a woman.
And so when I went for the item, she attacked, and that's when I tried to stop her because I didn't have any handcuffs. By holding her arms back, I held the arm back, and she just kept on resisting. I'm just trying to get her to calm down. You know what I mean? It's just a few items. It's not worth fighting over. Normally, I'll let the individual go with it. But this time, it was different because she wanted to fight me back. And my only way of stopping her from harming me or me getting any injuries was the choke, like a chokehold type move. And my partner wasn't there. Normally, my partner would be around, but he was on break. And he probably could have assisted me, but I was by myself.
Banco Brown is a transgender.
I told the individual, hey, I'm going to let you go, but I'm going to need you to calm down. And so I repeated it to her, and once I let go, I stood back because the whole time we were wrestling, she was saying that she was going to stab me. And that's what really put the fear in my heart. Like, okay, if I let her go, she might just try to stab me. So that's when I drew my gun out. Once I backed away from her, had the gun pointed downwards. I never pointed it at her until I was approached. So I had the gun downward.
And they are
she
not
looked like she was getting ready to leave, but then she turned back around and advanced toward me. And I didn't know what she was planning on doing, but turns out her intention was to try to spit on me. And by that reaction, by her turning around and advancing towards me, that's when I lifted it and then shot once. That's basically what happened.
No weapon seen, no weapon pulled out. And she said she was gonna spit on him.
No, she said she was gonna stab him, but he learned afterwards she was trying to spit on him.
And he shot her.
Yeah.
And he's not charged.
He is not being charged.
Not to this day. Not to this day. Go ahead, Ty. Give us your thoughts and comments, brother.
That's crazy, bro. I have no words, man. Like, I don't know.
The DA in San Francisco said they will not charge.
And San Francisco's 10 times more liberal than New York. 10 times more liberal. Wow.
You know, I thought, look, it's borderline or it's clearly arguable charging him for the assaulting. Right? The fight. The security guard started the fight.
Yeah, he started the
fight. But as a security guard, I'd probably give him the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, fine. I left the store.
This goes back to what we say, Bill, when we lecture the kids, or when we talk about how when I would do lectures in the academy, if you haven't been in a fist fight or a physical altercation, you shouldn't be in these positions because you're not going to know how to handle yourself when you're in fearful situations. And I can tell you from experience where I had a physical altercation with a transgender person in a department store when I was a security guard. I was younger, and the person pulled out scissors and was trying to stab me with scissors. I had no gun, and I wrestled them down. And it was a big, the person was even bigger than me, and I wrestled them down and locked them up. As a security guard, they were shoplifting. Like, this person didn't even pull a weapon or show a weapon. Come on, man.
This motherfucker said he didn't even bring his handcuffs to work.
Come on, man. Come on. That's insane.
That's intent.
Insanity.
What's your thoughts, Rich?
I just said it. This dude didn't even bring his handcuffs to work. He didn't have any intentions on cuffing nobody. This was a day that somebody gonna get shot that tries him. And then the thing about security work, you are not even, not know in New York State, when in instances like you working in the store, you are not supposed to put your hands on nobody. Your security job is strictly to observe and report. Right? If somebody steals something, you observe them doing it, because technically it's not stolen property till they leave the store. So you call the police, inform them that somebody walked out with merchandise.
The police are not doing anything on these jobs anymore.
No. Rich, you're wrong. And I normally I don't go against you, but no, what it is they have several opportunities. They pass a number of registers and they're heading for the door. And when they're heading for the door, the security guard can subdue them. I'm telling you, I did it. I worked for Alexander's on 59th Street. I was 22 years old. And I'm telling you, that's how I went down. Homeboy who I had altercation.
I was at a meeting this week with the mayor, district attorney, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, the Bronx DA, Darcel Clark, and the whole press conference was about theft, retail theft, and they went through all of the issues pertaining to retail theft and why it's done, because people are walking in stores, whether it's Target, Walgreens, whatever it is, and they literally picking shit up and walking out the door past the security guard. And the whole thing was discussing why security guards can't stop them from doing it, right? So I hear what you're saying, but I was in the press conference yesterday with all these people talking about that, right? So They were trying to address how do they stop it. I'm not pulling that shit out my ass. I think they're from Mayor, Bragg, Tisa James, Darcel Clark, all of them.
I got you.
Not to disrespect your badge or nothing, but whatever that shit is you talking about probably took place then, and laws have changed.
Maybe they have. But what I think they may have been also addressing is a lot of the smash and grab, where they run in the store, they snatch a whole bunch of stuff, and they run out.
Yeah, but they were talking about not just that. They was talking about how do they stop it, and they were talking about what the 125th Street bid, which is the organization that deals with all of the merchandise stores on 125th Street. They brought this to the table. They wanted to know what could they do, what could the city do, what are the police doing, because they are limited in what they are dealing with their security guards not being able to do that.
Sure. Okay. I don't disagree. Look, I'm just
an area what a security guard can or can't do. That ain't gray.
Excuse me?
There's a gray area on what a security guard can and can't do. This ain't gray.
There's no gray.
It is a gray area.
No, but
if somebody's in there physically harming somebody, then the security guard has the right to do certain things. But when it comes to stealing merchandise, no.
Well, I think that's what Kevin was saying. It's not a gray area. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Kev, what's your thoughts on this?
on that video.
Yes.
I can't believe they're not charging him.
Right.
I said I cannot believe they're charging him.
Yeah, because the dude was black.
I think if he was a white security guard, they would have charged him.
You see, Rich? You see how you start stuff, Rich?
That's what I do. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something.
I'm saving this video for everything. Every show I'm gonna show it. Didn't charge this guy.
I'm sitting here while we broadcasting this thing in a friend of mine's place called Patrick's. He has a place on 150th Street. It's a jazz club.
Yeah.
And me and him talk about the situation about the choking on the train. I'm not going to tell you what he thinks, but if given the opportunity, he would tell you what he thinks. He's sitting right here, so he's listening to the broadcast. But
he's more than welcome to come on, brother. Yeah, Rich, that's your call. First, let me just say this. Let me just say this,
opinion, Mr. Patrick. No, sir. I'm not giving you an opinion.
No,
I would
sir.
like for you to give your
Rich,
opinion.
He said no.
He said no.
We got to go.
No. Okay, so let me just say this from watching that video, right? The security guard, I don't know how many times he's been disrespected or whatever he's going through. Maybe he feel everybody has an ego in their job, whatever it is. Maybe he was like, yo, on my watch, I'm not having it. I'm gonna give cats hands. Listen, we understand the protocol, yo. Like, listen, stop the person from stealing, but or outside, inside, whatever. I personally, I didn't even have a problem with him giving the dude hands, right? What I had a problem with is you shot him when he didn't have a weapon. Like, yo, first and foremost, you picked on him. I don't know how tall the security guard is, but what he did that to you, Rich, Ty, myself, Kev, who knows, right? It's obviously he thought this person was small enough that he could get his little thing on, and maybe he wanted to practice some mixed martial arts moves and shit like that. I don't even know. But wait a minute. Dude gets up. Listen, if you choke me and slam me to the ground, what you think I'm gonna say when you let me go? Thank you. I'm gonna say I'm coming back and whip your ass. So, yo, if I say that, that means you can shoot me. Like, let's keep it 100 right now. A verbal threat. Listen,
hey, Bill, was there a knife found on the victim?
No.
And he knew it was a woman.
That's the other thing.
Transgender. Yeah, exactly.
God, this is a woman.
I'm surprised the LGBTQ community in San Francisco, of all places, has not come out. And
I was just about to say that, Ty. You beat me to it exactly. Like listen, and listen. It's right from the only people that's talking about it now is us.
He was gender neutral then.
Yeah. He was them or they or whoever. I don't know what the hell exactly.
He was one of the alphabets.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but my thing is, listen, we have looked right now. We are the last people talking about it. We're bringing more attention to it again because the bottom line is it's got thrown under the rug. They're not pressing charges, and we have not heard anything about this since the situation. Now, we got closing remarks. We got a few minutes to go. What's your thoughts on what's happening with DeSantis in Florida? Migrants, he's shutting shit down. He's arresting people. Listen, if you drive a migrant in your car, you're going to jail. Anything? I'll start with you, Rich, Ty, and then Kev. I'll let you go last, and then y'all can rebuttal after that. Rich.
Oh, I'm going first this time?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so you asked me what I think about DeSantis. He's repping his hood. He's repping his hood. He's repping all those people that believe the type of shit he's talking about. Do I believe that shit is right? No, I don't. But whenever you got people that's coming into a country, it weighs on the economy, right? So all of the things that they came here for, which is what everybody comes here for, they should be entitled to. Where they're going to get the money to do it, I don't know. And then it becomes, you got to take from the poor to give to the new poor, as opposed to what are all these rich people doing with billions of dollars that they can end one of these motherfuckers can end poverty around the world, right? And all they care about is getting richer. You know, so they put all of this argument shit on the people at our level. You know, we got to talk about, oh, these people are coming here taking this and taking that. When the truth is, these wealthy motherfuckers that's going to really make money off of them anyway, they need to pay for this shit. Now, we believe in the land of the free and the home of the brave and all that. You know, black people have been fighting for freedom of white folks since we got here. You know, when we fought that shit we praised the flag for, you know, that war was fought for money. You know, they weren't being enslaved like black folks. We were slaves fighting for our masters, freedom against the British, and then went back to slavery. You know, and they made a song about it that they want us to sing to this fucking day. What kind of shit is that? You know, they don't talk about the immigrants that come here from Europe. You know, there's no light shined on that shit. But you get some brown people that come over the border that's coming from Mexico, where majority of the country in that south part belong to Mexico. And these folks took it from them. You know? But if we want to talk about rights throughout the world and throughout this country, it's got to be some equity there. You know, anybody is entitled to the dream that this country supposedly is built on. So when you start shutting doors, you're shutting doors after yours got in.
Ty?
My issue with DeSantis is this. At first, I thought a lot of the laws he was trying to implement and policies was to gain control and to pick up where Trump left off, because he had this plan to run for president, which he says he's going to do. With that being said, the biggest issue I have with him, other than what he's trying to do as far as the migrants coming in, is where he's trying to prevent our history from being taught.
Right.
And that mentality speaks towards exactly what I was talking about earlier on in the cast, where we said how people can be empathetic to others. How can they be if they don't even know our history? And if all they know about our history or care about our history is that we were slaves and now times have changed, because the mentality is this: oh, times have changed, you know, you guys can make a living and you could have a job and nobody's hanging you and this and that. Listen, because things are done more strategically now from behind the scenes by individuals with the same mentality as DeSantis, where they still do redlining, where they still economically oppress people of color, and where they still give a better level of education in certain communities than others, you know. And I don't think this guy DeSantis should be allowed to run for office, for presidency, I should say.
Yeah. Kev?
I think this deserves a longer conversation for next week.
I agree. We will pick it up next week.
Go through. I had just started glancing at the immigration law they just passed there. I have my opinion of our southern border is it's a disaster, but not the disaster you're going to think. I think we should allow as many people across that border that want to come across that border. Give me your name, your information, your fingerprints, your DNA, whatever it is, and go. If you find a job, register with a job, and you're good to stay. I don't care.
You know, when we travel, not to cut you off or jump, but when we travel and we go into other countries, what do they ask you? Your name, You show a passport or papers.
Yep.
Where you're staying, an
Yep.
address of where you're staying. These are all things that I ask. Okay, so ask that.
Yep. No, there's no problem with that. Look, we have not had, and it's both sides, right? Democrats have run the country, Republicans run the country. That immigration policy hasn't changed in decades. I would like to see that change. Right? Like I said, I don't care how many come across the border. I wish we would identify them. They have a job, they can stay. If you don't have a job and you don't have somebody who's going to support you, would you go back? Should that person be turned around?
Well, they try to find a job.
Right.
And that's the other issue. Why a lot of people in that mindset don't want people coming across the border, because you've had these individuals from other countries that have come here and who were skilled and they do the job sometimes better than the ones who were
They
doing.
work harder, they work longer, and they take less money.
And that's where the problem came in at. But the last thing I'm going to say, because I know this is closing, rest in peace to Jim Brown and Tina Turner.
Absolutely. Who goes last? Rich, it's your turn.
No, Rich went.
Okay.
Oh man, you went
Bill.
too.
It's you.
But
It's
you kept
Bill.
going.
It's you, Bill. It's you, because if you let Rich talk, we're gonna be here till 9 o'clock. It's you, Bill.
Like you, right? Like you.
Yo, shout out to my man Rodney Duncan. He said they are willing to do the job most Americans don't want to do. Exactly. Eunice, shout out to Eunice Collins, my mother from a village. She said we will always be judged by the color of our skin and not the content of our brains. Absolutely. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm the host, Bill Forster, with my co-hosts, Ty Butler, Kevin Branzetti, Rich Williams. Michelle Ivory, she says, in my opinion, there are a lot of country issues that we will never fix, because those are the talking points. The politicians need something to run on. Absolutely. Listen, we can only converse about it. That's what we do. We can only stimulate your mind. That's what we're about. And we only always going to have real talk. That is my closing argument. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday weekend, whatever it means to you, whoever you spend it with, whatever you're going to do and how you're going to do it. We will be back Wednesday with these gentlemen. We would talk about more about the migrants and stuff like that. We will pick up that. God willing, we don't have more conversation. We didn't even talk about the dude that ran into the White House with the U-Haul truck and things of that magnitude. So
He made a wrong turn.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's gonna say, right, Kev? So on behalf of me, I wish you all a wonderful holiday weekend. Rich, give him some closing comments, Kevin, and then Ty, and then we out of here.
Hey, listen, regardless what it might seem like to the guys, people that's listening in on this, I love these guys. You know, I really do. I love Kevin. I love Ty. And these other guys that come on sometimes.
Yeah.
But this is what we do, man. We stir up conversation. You might not agree with us, but we talking. You know, you can agree to disagree, but we talking. But in hopes that we can create some kind of change.
Absolutely.
So with that, I'm just appreciative of having the two C's this morning, a chance and a choice, a chance to talk on this line and a choice to express my opinion.
Absolutely. Ty?
Yes, I'm truly grateful and thankful for you guys having me on here and being able to express, my thoughts and opinions on controversial issues. I kind of, when I used to do it at work, it wasn't the right place because, a lot of times people had judged me on it or turn around and blackball me for it. It is what it is. But, I hope that we get through to some individuals and maybe help them have a mind shift where they can come around and try and see things from a different perspective and realize that the world isn't just black and white,
Yeah. Kev?
I agree with everything everybody said, and yeah, I love everybody on this. We have a good time. We bust each other's chops. Sometimes it's uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah,
you know, but it's conversation and it's important, and that's where it starts.
Yeah.
You know, my thing of I always say, take a break from your news, take a break from your social media, get out, do something, come join me on a hike. I'm doing a 4-day weekend this weekend upstate.
I know you are. You got somebody up in the mountains. Lord have mercy. Bless that child.
Yeah. Hopefully she makes it back home.
Everybody, listen. If you appreciate us, you respect us. If you're watching it from YouTube, please subscribe to it. Even if you're watching it from Facebook, go to YouTube, just Real Talk Chronicles, and subscribe to it. Build the content. If you're watching it from Facebook, just go to my page, if you're all my friends, and share it to your page so we can get more viewers and more viewers so we can build. If you appreciate what we're doing, listen, the numbers don't lie. You know, we have great numbers a lot of times, but we need more. We need more. And I'm asking, you know, I can do a brunch party. I can do promotions. Ty knows about this. Rich knows about this. I could do a brunch party and it's like that. But the bottom line is positivity. This is what we're doing. This is the only show that, you know, besides the real names that are out here holding it down, this is the only content right now that's giving you this conversation and dealing with people that have been in the fields with it. You know what I'm trying to say? So share it. Tell your friends. Let us know what you think about it. We're going to change the whole thing up so we can have people call in. We want your input. We want your conversation. You can join the show. Listen, if you got something to say, we want to hear it. As long as you ain't talking some gibberish, because I'll shut you down. We don't play that. That's Kevin Branzetti. That's Ty Butler. That's Richard Williams. I am Bill Forster. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend. Listen, the barbecue is at your house. Let me know. And just have my, you know, what I drink and have a cigar for me. All right. Preach. Kevin's gonna be in the mountains. Ty gonna be where he's at. Rich gonna do what he do. You know what I'm saying? We out of here, everybody. Peace and love.
Peace and love.